Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for logging in for today's manuscript writing workshop. This is the first workshop that we will be having in 2021. And without further ado, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Siti Fatimah Ibrahim for the welcoming and opening remarks.
Thank you, Wani. Okay, thank you, Madam Chairperson Hilwani. Assalamualaikum and very good morning, everyone. So welcome to Bengkel Penulisan Manuscript 1 for this year, 2021, to all participants. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizer, led by Dr. Azizah and Nurizam. Also to all participants for your cooperation to make this possible. To start with, I just want to share the objective of this Bengkel. As a postgraduate student, one of the criteria is to graduate with publication, 1 for master, 2 for PhD. So this is one of the platforms that would help all of you in this journey. How? Because this workshop is a structured 3-day workshop. You are doing in a group, 50 to 80% manuscript ready and close monitoring from supervisors and organizers. So all this will become a pushing factor or motivation to produce paper. So on top of them, we are very fortunate to have an eminent speaker in publication, Dr. Chin, with us today. So I am honored and humbled to introduce our speaker today. So Dr. Chin obtained his Bachelor in Biomedical Science Honours degree and PhD in Pharmacology from UKM. So during his job interview, he was asked, aren't you bored for UKM? So he answered that question with a silly smile. He just wanted a job to continue his research on the role of vitamin E on musculoskeletal health and the epidemiology of osteoporosis in Malaysia. So he got the job somehow and he has been working in UKM till now. It is said that our dreams get smaller when we grow up, but life gives a twist to Dr. Chin's dream. He aspired to become a writer when he was very young. He wanted to write novels or short stories. He didn't end up to be a writer, but he has written or co-written 138 scientific articles, book chapter, and 1 book. He has no time to write short stories now, but he still enjoys them on big and small screen, especially horror one. His papers landed him opportunities to serve as academic associate editor for Journal of Tropical Life Science, Medicine and Health, BMC Public Health, Evidence-Based Complementary and Alternative Medicine. He appreciates these opportunities that give him an insight into the scholarly publishing industry. At busy times, he wonders why he took this job. He's grateful that others value research by awarding him the Young Investigator Award at the Asian Federation of Osteoporosis Societies meeting in 2017 and the Malaysia Society of Pharmacology and Physiology meeting in 2018. Besides, he also thanked various parties who have invited him to many writing workshops to share his experience in scientific writing. With that, I think you are in a good hand. So with lafaz Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I officiate and wish for a fruitful Bengkel to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Siti, for the extensive welcoming of Dr. Chin. If it's agreeable to everyone, perhaps we can directly begin with Dr. Chin's talk for today. The talk is centered around effective writing skills. So this would be skills which you would need to better write your manuscripts. And let's invite Dr. Chin for the next talk. Thank you.
So very good morning to everyone. Okay, I hope you have breakfast ready. It's going to be a 1.5 hour session, so maybe 2 hours plus Q&A. So let's first thing, you know that I'm a bit casual, so even my biography are a bit casual. So just don't be afraid to mention now if you have questions. and more like discussions. I'll have my slides. If you have anything that you want to dispute or you want to discuss, just go ahead. Don't be afraid to talk. First thing, now you have known about me and you have listened a story about me. I would like to know about the audience. I was told by Dr. Aziza that most of the students present here are quite new, and some of you don't have writing experience. Okay, so I would like to do a survey, but can I please allow me to share my screen? Yeah. Okay. So for all the participants, if you have a free, no, not free, yeah, you have a if you have a cell phone available, okay, I hope you are listening to this talk using a laptop, and then you have a cell phone available, please log into the mandy.com using the login ID. Is my, yeah. Okay, log into the www.menti.com and log in the ID 429593. Okay, you are quick about it. Okay, so yeah, yes, the answer. But have you written a scientific article before as a first author? For all the lecturers, of course, I know you have written a scientific article before as a first author, but for the students. So 10 people have answered so far, 7 say, 11 have answered so far, 7 say no. With 20. "17 so far, and 9 say no, 7 say yes. So the 7 could be lecturers from the department, and 9 would be the students. If there are lecturers among the 9, then maybe I should let the city Fatima know the names. Okay, so I guess the rest are using handphone to watch the webinar now, so they can't really answer. So right now we have 16 answered, 9 say no, could be from the students, and 7 say yes, could be from the lecturers, but we don't really know. Next. Regardless that you answer yes or no from the previous questions, can you write down a word that you associate with scientific writing and publication? Just a word. If you give a phrase, then 0 mark for you. You don't answer the question. You don't really understand the questions. Just write out a word that you associate with scientific writing and publication. Tedious. Okay, that's the usual answer I get from the participant. Intimidating. Stress. Tiring. You can repeat the word on the already appear in the screen. Someone give you a phrase. Tiring, intimidating, hard, time-consuming, tiring, tedious, intense, write a blog. Anything more? Mostly negative. You can see that mostly is negative. Stress. Okay. More than one person answer
It's all
stress.
negative, It's all negative.
All negative.
Gosh. You are this workshop is useless.
Time consuming. Okay. Stress. Multiple people answer stress. That's why the stress is become bigger. Hiring. I think mostly it's like that. Mostly is that. Well, this is I wouldn't say this out of ordinary lah. Okay. In previous workshop when I asked people to write out word associated with scientific writing and this other usual word they will give to us. Okay. So this will give the lecturers a brief idea how the student thinks about scientific writing as well. Okay. Still stress is a prominent features here. Get published. Rewarding. Okay, there's a positive word there. Rewarding. Someone answered rewarding. When you get published, that's correct. Confusing. Somehow confusing is appearing bigger now. Later, you can tell me what you are confused about. Okay, so I think enough for the exercise. So just let me unshare first. So we briefly know about the attitude of our participants today towards scientific writing. So a majority of you don't have experience writing as a first author before, and then most of you have negative thoughts about scientific writing and publications. That is okay. So we hope that through this talk, okay, or through our discussions, we can somehow modify attitude towards scientific writing. Okay. So I hope you are looking at the full screen now. Okay, so I was told by Dr. Aziza that I'm supposed to give a lecture. No, not to give a lecture, but to give a discussions, conduct discussions with amateur writers on the process of scientific writing and publications. So we actually had different module or different presentations for different scientific workshop. So because of the information given to me, so I selected the most, how do I say, the most basic, okay, the most basic presentations for amateur writers. So it's called Scientific Writing at a Glance. I'm not sure whether it is the theme set by the organizer, but I'm just go ahead with it. So I think enough about me. Yeah, yes. Yeah.
It's okay. The basic writing principles, G has shared about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they should know the basic.
Okay. So actually, why am I supposed to talk?
The tips, relationships.
Okay. Okay. I'm just going to go through about the slides and then try to discuss more. Okay. I could go beyond the slides. Okay. What Jay had talked about the other day.
Just the basic process, like how you start, how to start writing, how to identify the topics, how many references you should have for reviews, for original articles, and so on.
Okay, so Jay has talked about the principle of writing. I mean, the basic knowledge about writing original article, writing reviews, and things like that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we are going to glance over that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is about me, nothing to talk about. You heard about my biography just now. Okay, so whatever I tell you is a true story. Okay, whatever I'm going to tell you is a true story. I'm going to draw example from real life example. You'll be wondering why I'm choosing this font, this kind of colors, give you a horror sense. So any one of you afraid of horror story? I don't care because I like it. So you must have this kind of feelings if you are students. Taken from the pictures, Annabelle. When your supervisor asks you to write to write scientific articles, okay, you will have nightmares. The Annabelle chasing you, okay. Usually by this time, the supervisor will be jelling saya lah, okay. And then you are the innocent one who, I don't know, having nightmares about being chased. Not sure about that. If you can tell me privately whether you feel this, you have this feeling. But that's the usual nightmares for postgraduate students. Okay, being chased by supervisors. So for me personally, if I want to do something, I must have a reason to do so. Okay, I must have a reason to motivate myself to do so. So for the postgraduate students who are present in the forum today, why do you think you should write and publish? You can give very personal reasons. Anyone want to give some idea? The postgraduate students? You probably already know the answer from the lecturers now to fulfill the KPI of the department and also the faculty. But why as a postgraduate students you should write?
Would it be that so that we're not working in silo, at least we know what we're contributing to the knowledge, body of knowledge?
That is true. You're contributing to the volume of knowledge. Okay. There's a very official answer. Anything more personal?
To graduate.
Sorry, Nabila say to graduate. No, that's good. That's good enough. That's a good enough answer. Anyone else?
Something for our kids to see that, oh, my parents did something lah.
Yeah, it is a legacy. Yes, you want to leave a legacy. That's good. Okay. I think so far no one actually answered legacy. Okay, anyone? Just to share personal reasons. If no one, I'm just going to name call. Anyone? No one, I'm just going to go name call. Who is Joanne Horn?
Actually, it can also enhance our CV for job applications.
That is true. You probably get a bonus point if you have multiple publications in your CV. Okay, so for now, perhaps the department just interview new lecturers, right? So how many minimum publication you want for the new applicants? Perhaps the boss here can answer.
The requirement is 3.
Yeah, 3.
So if a person has at least 3 is good enough, but you have more than that is better. It's a bonus.
So you can require minimum 3 publication for you to be considered as a lecturer post, but no, 3 is a minimum, you know. So no, nowadays job market are quite competitive. 3 probably won't get too far lah. Okay, you probably need more.
If a person want to become a lecturer, the PhD requirement is 2, but minimum for UKM and other university is 3. So definitely, if you want to become a lecturer, you have to work harder so that you can get at least 3.
Yeah, so everyone can get at least 3. I mean, anyone can get at least 2 to graduate. You need more to get a job. Anyone else? Is Ahmad here, students? You are in the postgraduate room.
Yes, doctor.
Yeah. Why would you want to write and publish? You can answer. My supervisor asked me to. It's okay.
my supervisor asked me to.
Yeah.
However, I think just for personally, I think because as a future researcher, we need to able to write and express our ideas when researching other papers and commenting on other publications.
Okay, so it is training ground for you to try in future and in preparation in preparation for your career as a researcher, for you to write, summarize, analyze, praise other papers and then put in words. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else want to share? Any supervisors want their students to share?
We have one from Aslah, Dr. Chin, in the chat box.
Okay. What did Asla say? Sorry. Just a moment. To develop critical ideas and share knowledge with the others. Okay, so good. Also very standardized answer. Okay. So no, I'm not going to dwell too much on here. I'm just going to show you the classic answer. Now, advanced science and knowledge increase scientific knowledge pool of a field. That's correct, to influence policy and practice, because for example, in this COVID time, the publication actually shape our policy and also landscape of pandemic control. So at the discussion and debate, you want your work to be discussed and to be debated. That's how science advance. To leave a legacy to your children, okay, or for future mankind, okay. And then the more practical answer will be to graduate, as Nabila said, okay. There's actually a good enough answer, okay. I have even heard about more ridiculous answer before. You want to be admired, you want to be called a doctor and things like that. To satisfy supervisor demand, okay, if that is the choice of the answer, well, if that alone can motivate you, go ahead with it. To get promotions and is to perform academic duty, because that is the duty of the academicians or researcher to publish, to write and to publish, okay, to share knowledge. But whatever the reason might be, you must really hold the reasons to heart, okay, and let the reason to motivate you, okay. So for me personally, somehow the scientific writing and also publications, well, to me, yeah, I'm doing this for myself, but at the same time, the more personal reason for me to write and publish actually is firstly to help my students, okay. I want to help my students to write and publish so that they can graduate and get a good job, okay. That would be a more personal reason to me. Second reason would be I want to write and publish because it is a process for me to learn about a new topic. Okay, so when we are trying to embark on a new topic, we'll read a lot of manuscript, a lot of articles. At the same time, you can write a review so that your understanding on the topic can be tested. Okay, can be tested by expert. Okay, so that's why for the undergraduates, not undergraduates, postgraduate students, we encourage you to write reviews as you are researching, okay, before you get enough data to write your original research article. We encourage you to write relevant topic, relevant review pertaining to your topic, so that your understanding can be consolidated. Okay, because you can't just read and don't do anything about your knowledge. Okay, you must read, consolidate your understanding and put it into words, submit it out so that your understanding can be tested, okay, by the expert. Some internships also said to help university ranking. Okay, that's good. But to motivate yourself, make sure that the reason is personal enough, okay? Because to help university ranking, there's a good enough reason, but is that a good enough reason to motivate yourself to continue to pursue this publication and writing business is another story. You need a more personal reasons to motivate yourself. So I can't comment on any personal reason, but no reason like to graduate would be good enough to motivate to write enough papers, at least to achieve the minimum number that is required of you to graduate. For the lecturers, I mean, the academic duty wise, of course, you are required to publish a certain number of papers. But I mean, to the academician as well, maybe you need to find a more personal reasons that could motivate you to write, or else soon. First tip of everything is to find a personal reason to write. So for those who have no experience submitting a paper, that would be what depicted here is the perfectly ideal writing process, whereby you complete a research project. Okay, you can see my arrow here. Completing a research project, data analysis, write out your results. Okay, go for internal review. That's by your supervisor. Submitting it to a journal, peer review, revised, accepted, get it approved, and then get published. This ideal scenario, okay, estimated completion time is about 3 to 6 months from submitting to publications if you are lucky, okay, 3 to 6 months. This is the ideal process. But as I told you at the beginning of our forum today, this is a real story, okay? Idealism and reality is a bit different. And this is reality. You complete a research project, data analysis, then you suffer your writer's block. No motivation to write, and then you procrastinate. No energy to write. Don't know for whatsoever reason, because you have a relationship problem at that time. We don't know. Finally, you gather yourself to write. You write a result, internal review, and your supervisor keep your papers forever. So under the carpet. Don't know pergi mana dah. Okay. And then you're a bit shy to nudge your supervisors. So after numerous reminders, then you receive approval for submissions. You submit to a journal, and then no reviewers want to review a paper. And that's very true, because I'm the associate editor of several journals. You know how difficult it is to find a reviewer to review a journal. And as a reviewer, we do this for free. Okay, so it is a very difficult process. We are not sure the editor house, the editor can find suitable reviewer for your journal. From my experience, sometimes I invite, actually it's not my experience, it is a policy for BMC because I work for BMC Public Health. We have initial selection, we have to give 15 names. We have to submit 15 names. To submit the paper to 15 reviewers to initiate our discussions. And usually I don't get any for the initial 15. And it is a more surprising knowledge for me. The other day, BMC has a forum. Some of the reviewers, some of the editors, some of the journal actually discourage editor like us to select the reviewer name that you have provided. Usually we are asked not to select the reviewer you have provided unless we are desperate. Because for sure, that the reviewer names that you have submitted are your friends, are your close collaborators sometimes, okay?
Dr. Chin.
Yeah.
Sorry, there was one journal. They asked us to choose the reviewers from their list. So even if we choose from their list, would they not use those names as well?
If they have a panel of internal reviewer, probably they will choose. Okay. Probably they will choose. There's a different story. From BMC, there is no internal reviewer panel for you to choose. Yeah. So you are asked to give several names for reviewer suggestions, but unless we are desperate, we won't choose those names because there may be a conflict of interest between the authors and the names of the reviewers suggested. But certain journals like, let me see, an NDPI, they will ask you to choose from their reviewer board. Then that is another story, because these people volunteer themselves to be included as a reviewer board. Okay, so there's a greater chance for them to review your journals or review manuscript. Okay, but otherwise, most of the journal won't provide this service, and it's up to the editors to choose a reviewer for you. So finally, someone had the mercy to take a job. It underwent peer review process, and you are met with hostile reviewer with comment impossible to answer. That's quite common. Then you revise, undergo second peer review, got rejected, and then you have to start over again. If you are lucky, it is accepted after second review. But then since you choose a traditional journal, the journal keep your paper private, keep in queue, because you need to queue for volume number and issue number and page number. It is online in press, but then again, for the academicians, your online impress paper are not counted as KPI. So you just wait wait until it get the page number. So guess what is the maximum time that I waited? I mean, my record number, my record waiting period from online impress to getting a page number. How long have you waited? You can ask the you can research. I mean the department members. Aziza, how long have you waited from page number to getting? I mean from impress to getting page number.
The longest in my experience, 1 year.
1 year, yeah.
Longest,
1 year,
shortest,
okay.
The shortest will be within a month after getting accepted.
Okay. Within a month, okay, or else it could be up to 1 year. Any Professor Fields, how long have you waited from online impress to getting a page number?
It depends on the journal.
Yeah, but your maximum record.
Maximum record can be more than a year.
Yeah, it can be more than a year.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
But the fastest, I think the MDPI is the fastest, I think, so far.
Yeah, the NDPI could give you like, in 3 days, something like that.
Yeah, so it's quite fast, but the rest are, yeah, but mean, I think in average could be 6 months.
Could be 6 months, yes,
Yeah,
6 months, 3 months, up to 1 year. I have a maximum record 2.5 years.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
that's really bad. That's really bad.
Until one stage, I actually don't really care about that paper anymore.
Journal is that?
But without the page number, people cannot cite your paper. That's the main thing.
They can cite. They can cite that it's still
but with
counted.
the EOI,
Yeah.
then it's hard for you to get the citation because people will see that your volume and page number are not available.
Yeah, that could affect people's decision to cite you or not. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so I mean the moral of the story of this complicated journey, as for the students, is actually, although we say you need one paper for master, you can't just write one paper and wait for it to get published. Yeah? Okay, the process might be delayed. Okay, it might be delayed in the middle. So if you're unlucky, okay, you can get more than 6 months just to get your one paper to be published. So it is very risky for you to just plan one paper in order to finish your master. It's probably will encourage you to write more, 2 or 3. Okay, just to try your luck. Which one you get published first? Because at least one get accepted, you can sit for your viva. We are afraid that if you just depend on the only one, you're putting all your egg in your one basket, and then you have to wait for 6 months, and you could get multiple. You could get multiple rejections, and you could not get your paper published in time for your viva. That is the moral of the story lah. For the students, although we set a minimum number for you, 1 for your master, 2 for a PhD, we would require more as a safety measure so that you can sit for your viva in time. And for the academician, of course, No, we are depending on the page number for it to be registered in ERAT. Okay, so you might need to write more than the minimum number required of you, so that you can get enough published and registered in ERAT in time in 1 year. Okay. So don't just write the minimum amount. You might not get the minimum amount, so you need to write more. Okay. So that is the I like this PhD comic. So this is the situations faced by students when the professor asks you to do something. Usually you are required to do it as soon as possible. When you ask the professor to read your manuscript and it says I will do it as soon as possible, meaning that it could be done in any time of the century. Who knows? But again, the moral of this PhD comic is that if you feel that, because as lecturers, I admit that as a lecturer, we are extremely busy, okay? We are extremely busy, we have multiple tasks to be complete. We have more deadline actually than the students, okay? So sometimes we might forget. Sometimes we might forget your papers. Your review might be stuck under the piles of emails that we receive every day, okay? So for the students, don't be afraid to nudge your supervisor, just to give a reminder to your supervisors. Let's say today you have emailed him or her your reviews, manuscript. After 1 week or 2, it is okay for you to remind your supervisor what happened to your email, what happened to your manuscript. Okay, give them an alert. Okay, so that they will keep your manuscript in mind. Okay. And of course, the supervisors here don't feel annoyed when people email you for the status of their manuscript because they want to graduate also. So they are worried. Okay, but for the students, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to nudge your supervisor to give an alert what happened to your manuscript. If you don't give an alert, you don't remind your supervisors, it might be swept under the carpet or lost in the sea. Okay. So do remind your supervisors after you ask them for internal review. So this is a picture. Do you know who is this? Anyone have any idea? Who is this? Someone leave in the chat. Don't know. Okay. This is the king of horror story.
Yeah, I know that he always write how many words in a day.
Yeah. Not exactly sure how many words in there, but it is Stephen King. Okay. The most prolific horror story writer in USA. We have produced many horror story books. Okay. Look at the environment look at the writing environment that he has. Okay, it's a bit messy, not exactly comfortable, but still he could survive and write many horror stories in this room. Okay. So rather than using excuses like the mood, your environment, and things like that, you just need to discipline yourself or culture the writing habits. Okay, we can't always depend on our mood, and also blame the writing environment, non-conducive writing environment. But it's more about studying writing and publication. It's more about disciplining yourself. Okay, setting out small goal for yourself to write and to get published. So we follow this simple step. You plan, you write. Of course, there's reading involved. You submit, revise, and publish. And we are going through this talk today based on this process. So how to begin? Okay. First, by asking yourself, do you have a story to tell? Like any writers, okay? Do you have a story to tell? but the story that you're going to tell is a scientific story. Okay, this applies to your original article and also to your review. Okay, select a topic of your, because if you are certified original article, then you have topic probably. If you have review, then you have to select a topic, determine the scope, search for informations, and then if you found too much information or too little information, you might want to redefine your topic, the scope, and research again before you start writing. Okay, so this is the usual or very typical scientific writing process for the original research article and also for a review, because your original research article probably have a lot of data which you can put into two or three more concentrated paper. The topic is about your research findings, or reviews is about your field or interest. The example here, I'm using a lot of osteoporosis example because osteoporosis is usually my rice bowl. Okay, so natural product osteoporosis is something, as an example, this is a review you want to write. So for a mature writer, for us beginner writers, it's very, very, very important for you to determine the scope you want to write. Okay, for beginners, I will encourage that you have a limited, a very focused scope for review, for example, so that you can save, you can have a more defined timeline and also energy to complete this review. Okay, if you plan yourself a mega review, a very huge review for beginners writer, you can never finish it, and then you get very frustrated. Why I can't finish? Why I can't finish it? And then towards the end, you give up. You just give out the review. Okay, so for beginners, plan a very narrow scope review for you to write. Okay, with a reasonable amount of references. For example, instead of writing natural product osteoporosis, which you are required to discuss several natural products, you can maybe narrow down the scope into, no, I just want to talk about silymarin's osteoporosis. Silymarin is a herb, Indian herb, very famous Indian herb. Okay. So you begin your search. Okay. If your search review too many references, too many articles, okay, more than that you can cope, maybe the scope is too wide, and maybe you need to limit your scope. Okay. So by limiting, you can redefine your scope into silymarin and postmenopausal osteoporosis. Okay, that could probably cut down some references, and it's easier for you to cope with the reading and writing. But if you encounter too limited references, okay, too few references, it might not be enough to support your review, and you cannot write a review therefore, okay? So if silymarin is too, on osteoporosis, too little references, you might need to widen the scope of your search into silymarin on musculoskeletal diseases that will cover the bone, joint, and muscle, okay? For research article, perhaps Jay already tell you the minimum number of references. Depend on the journal that you want to submit. Some of the printed journal will actually limit your number of references. Usually we'll encourage 30 to 50 lah. Okay, references for your research article. For review is 60 to 120. Okay, but other side, depending on type, the journal that you target, they might have a specific number of references required of you. Okay, so you have to refer to the journal guideline for each journal. But for most of the online journal, reference number is not an issue. Okay, but you must have enough to support your story. Okay, so as an exercise, these are 4 possible titles of a review. Can you spot the differences? First, what are the health beneficial effects of vitamin E? What are the effects of vitamin E on musculoskeletal diseases, musculoskeletal system? What are the effects of vitamin E on bone? What are the effects of tocotrienol on bone? What are the differences? Orizam is speaking, but you muted yourself.
Sorry, the topic become more specific.
Yes, the topic become more specific. You are correct. So the first one, we have to cover everything about vitamin E, every health effect. Second, we just limit to one system, musculoskeletal system, and then we just focus on one organ, which is bone. And then lastly, we only focus on only one type of vitamin E, which is tocotrienol. So are all these implementable or writable topic? Actually, all of these are interesting research questions to be explored in a review. Okay, even review have research questions. So all of these are actually interesting review title. But for you as a beginner writer, how much time you can dedicate for each of the topic? We have actually written all of this topic. Okay. Firstly, potential role of tocotrienol on non-communicable diseases. You know, a lot of non-communicable diseases out there. A review of covering evidence. You look at the number of authors involved. You look at the number of pages that we produce and the time required. Okay. If you are selecting a mega topic, you need a lot of people. You probably produce a lot of pages, enough for a book actually. But it takes a lot of time to complete as well because a lot of coordinations or a lot of compiling to do. But if you select a narrow topic, you know, the role of tocotrienol in preventing male osteoporosis. Okay, it's not just osteoporosis, male osteoporosis is a very narrow topic. Okay, 20 pages, two authors, but I mostly do all of the writing. 1 to 2 months to complete because this is the topic that I'm interested in. So I have all the materials. So take lesser time than usual. So defining a scope is very important for your writing. Okay, especially as beginner writers. And also, since I encourage you to write your review, to write a review at the beginning of a study, so you need to discuss with your supervisors what is the scope of your review to cover. Okay, don't submit your chapter 2 as a review article as a academic editor of journals. I have seen people submitting their chapter 2 as their review, okay? And you will receive a desk rejection, okay? I will reject it immediately after 1 or 2 days, okay? Because your chapter 2 is too much thing inside your chapter 2. Your chapter 2 probably contain multiple topics, which can be split, okay, into different review. Well, my PhD thesis is about the effect of tocotrienol on male osteoporosis. Okay, so in my chapter 2, I probably introduce about what is male osteoporosis, what is the role of testosterone deficiency in male osteoporosis, what is the possible effect, what the skeletal benefit of tocotrienol and things like that. That will be the main 3 subtopic of my chapter 2. And each of it can be split into a review. Okay, the effect of androgen deficiency in male osteoporosis, that can be one review. Okay, and then the role of tocotrienol in protecting against male osteoporosis will be a second review. Okay, so you need to discuss with your supervisor how your chapter 2 can be split into different review, narrow scope, but then still have enough references to support your review. Okay, don't just throw your whole chapter 2 to the journal house. We will just reject you because we don't find a specific topic that you want to discuss. Okay, so that's very important. Determining your scope of your review or studies are very important so that you can have an appropriate timeline for yourself to write, and then you don't overspend your energy in writing or completing that review. Okay, because as beginner, if you can't finish your first review, you get frustrated and demotivated, and then it will prohibit you to continue this writing journey. Okay, So be careful when planning your first paper. But the main problem that we encounter at the start is a lack of motivations. Okay, so that's why I said you need to know why you should write. Okay, and let your personal motivations power you. Okay, knowing your motivation should be the first thing before you embark on this journey. And then the second main problem that we all encounter, including myself, of having too much Netflix. Okay, procrastinations. Okay, procrastinations. Okay, we always delay the time of starting. Okay, so just to remember, you have to start. Okay, it's not difficult to start. You just need to sit down and start writing the first few sentences. It is not that it is. I think it's more feasible if you can just set a deadline for yourself. Maybe you can write one paragraph a day. Don't set the bar too high. You can have a big goal for yourself. For beginner writer, you can set a goal of completing that manuscript in 3 months' time. For example, that's a big goal. But then you should set also a small goal, daily small goal for yourself, so you can accomplish every day. For example, one paragraph a day, or one page a day, or reading, because we start by reading, right? So maybe reading 2 articles a day, something like that. Set a daily small goal for yourself. Once you can achieve this small goal, then you feel accomplished. And then you have the motivation to continue to achieve the goal for the next day. Okay, don't just set a big goal, writing or completing that review in 3 months time, and then by the 3 months time, you don't have milestone in between. By the 3 months time, you can't complete your review, then you feel very frustrated and demotivated. Okay, break your big goal into smaller goal, daily goal that is achievable. Okay, daily. Reading 2 articles a day, writing 1 paragraph a day, or writing 1 page a day. If you can achieve, then you get motivated to continue. Okay, so these sections I would like to end with. You don't need to be great to start. Okay, you just need to start to be great. No one is born a perfect writer. Okay, no one is born to be a good writer. No, after being born, then you know how to write. That's a beautiful certificate, I say. Okay, but you need to start. Okay, you need to start to be great. If you are born to be a good writer, when you are born, okay, if you are born to be a good writer, you will not be here. You'll be writing Hollywood manuscript. You'll be writing Hollywood movie script. You will not be here. Okay. So let's just acknowledge our limitations. We are all average writer. We all have our struggles, but we don't need to be good to start. Okay. You need to put down your first sentence to begin your journey to be a good writer. Okay, just keep this to your heart. Just start to be good. So next is searching for information. This will probably have been covered by previous lecturers. Okay, for the beginner writers, I hope you have by now you understand what is the difference between publisher and search engine. Do you know what's their difference? Anyone? Can you name me the most recent recruit of your students? Among the students who are the latest, who is the last to join the department? Anyone? Mengaku je lah.
Apa benda soalan you apa?
Who is the latest student to join the department?
Siapa yang paling baru sekali join?
Yeah.
You are not here. Ya ke? Mariam kot.
Ada Prof, tapi dia orang satu batch kan?
Oh, okay.
Satu batch kan?
Anyone from the latest batch?
Siapa satu batch?
Shakira.
Okay.
Okay.
Lagi?
Shakira, where is Shakira? Okay, Shakira. Shakira, are you there? Are you drifted out, or have you drifted off to your breakfast? You don't have to on your video, but you can answer me. Shakira, are you there?
Yeah, I think that paling baru Mariam lah. Sebab Shakira semua ni coursework. Dia dah setahun.
Ya, I rasa Mariam.
Okay.
Mariam.
Okay, Maria, unfortunately, your name are being called. Okay.
Mariam.
So do you understand what is search engine and what is publisher website? I know the answer is there, but can you just answer me? Do you understand what is publisher website or what is search engine? Mariam tak dengar lah, Mariam. Still tak dengar. Kalau tak dengar lagi, you gonna change laptop lah.
Gabriel, you boleh tanya seorang lagi. Inderjit, incoming masters.
Oh, okay, incoming. Okay, incoming master. Inderjit.
Sekejap ya. Hello.
I can hear you now. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yes. So maybe you can mute.
Oh, you're in one room with other people, is it?
So the publisher is where you. This Elsevier. All these are the platform for you to publish your articles, right? And then the search engine is where you can find all these articles from all the publishers area, also in other areas which are not from the publisher that you listed from the publishers.
Okay, I get you. I get you. I probably get you. But just give me an answer. Science Direct, is it a publisher website or is it a search engine?
Sorry?
Science Direct. Are you familiar with Science Direct?
Oh, Science Direct. Yeah.
Is it a publisher website or is it a search engine?
It's a search engine.
Search engine, huh? Okay. Interject, incoming master. Science Direct, is it a publisher website or is it a search engine?
Hello?
Hello, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Science Direct is a search engine, but it's mainly with Elsevier, right?
Okay. For me, Science Direct is a publisher website.
Oh.
Yeah. Because the difference between publisher, because it's very important for you to know, especially when you're doing a review. Publisher websites like Elsevier, actually Elsevier website is Science Direct. Elsevier journal they are all compiled in the Science Direct website. Okay. Elsevier, Whaley, Science, Sage, Hindawi, Biomed Central, BMC, or Nature.com. Okay. All of them are publisher website. Okay, it's very important for the new students to know these are all publisher website. So when you search a topic in a publisher website, you only get the journals that particular publisher publish. Okay, let's say you search in Science Direct website, you only get articles that Science Direct or no Elsevier publish. You'll not get more than that. Okay. Is that clear? Is that clear? Then for search engines, scholarly search engine like PubMed, Google Scholar, Scopus of Web of Science, and many more. These are search engines, scholarly search engines. They index multiple journals from multiple publishers. So if you search using this search engine, you get materials or articles from multiple publishers, and also multiple journals, depending on their indexing, because a different search engine, they have a limited scope of journals or publishers that they cover. Okay. Other than Google Scholar, which didn't conduct quality assessments, most of the search engine like PubMed, Scopus, and Web of Science, there is a quality assessment on the items or of the journals there index. Okay, so if you search through PubMed, Scopus, and Web of Science, most probably you will get rather at least a moderate quality journal. Okay, you'll get decent enough journal article. But Google Scholar as a search engine, it doesn't really check the quality of the items of the or the journals it index. So you will get items from predatory journal. Okay, predatory journal in Google Scholar. Okay, we will talk about predatory journal later. Okay, so again, back to Mariam. Sorry, your names. Now you want to search materials for your review. Would you rather search using publisher website or would you rather search through a scholarly search engine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer to search using search engine.
Okay.
But also at the same time, I also search using publisher, Science Direct, Biomed Central.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you actually, I would say, if you are using a search engine, then there's no need to use a publisher website anymore.
Okay.
Okay. So if you are using search engine, probably that journals that you are searching in the publisher website has been covered. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So usually we encourage students, if you starting to search for a topic, you'll use a scholarly search engine to search, especially in systematic review where you have to declare your search engine that you use. Okay. If you put the Science Direct there, or you put Biomed Central or Hindawi there as part of your search protocol, then reviewer will question you that you're using a publisher website to search, your search will not be comprehensive enough. Okay, so it is better, especially if you're conducting a systematic review, to search using search engine. Okay, and I would recommend if you are looking for the core articles that you are going to appraise and also summarize later, try to search using search engine with some quality assessment that include PubMed, Scopus, Web of Knowledge, Web of Science okay, not Google Scholar. Okay, Google Scholar, you tend to get non-specific hit, and also you will get sources from predatory journal. Okay, try to search using search engine with some quality assessment. Okay, PubMed, Scopus, Web of Science, that's the basic Okay. So if you search using a search engine, it will cover multiple publisher, multiple journal. Okay, but limitation that you limit to the journal that index, but the act of indexing is a quality, how do I say, menjaga quality, like a quality assurance. There's a reason why they index this journal, because they acknowledge that this journal have achieved certain quality. Okay. So search, I think search has anyone told you about search before, how to search? Yeah. Okay, so I will just glance through this. So I believe that people have tell you how to use the most relevant keyword to search. You need to, before you just go ahead and search yourself, discuss the search term with your supervisors. Very important, because if you use a wrong search term and then you finish writing articles, you send to your supervisor and he or she is not agreeable with your search term, probably you have to do it again. Okay, so before even begin to start, discuss the search term with your supervisor first. Okay, to avoid yourself having to repeat your writing or searching. Okay, the more word used, the more specific or narrow the result. Specific is good, but narrow is not very good. Okay, and then perhaps people have told you how to use Boolean operators to narrow down a search using and or not. Okay, and these Boolean operators has to be in capital letters. I think that has been covered, right? Aziza, has that been covered? Okay, so no need to cover here. Okay, so that has been covered. No need to cover here. Similarly, how to use and or and not is described here. So again, I won't be covering here.
I don't
Yes.
understand why the Boolean characters have to be in caps.
In capital, yeah.
Yeah.
So if your Boolean operators are not in capitals, the search engine will ignore, because the search engine will think that it's a usual word, maybe don't carry any meanings. So it will ignore the or, and not that is not written in capital. Okay, but if you spell everything in capital, then the search engine will treat it as a operations, as part of the search operations. Okay. So before we go further, for the new students, anything you want to ask regarding the Boolean operators? Okay, you can ask later. So all and not are the common Boolean operators for across all the search engines. Okay, but there are more specific operators that I'm not going to introduce here. That differ between search engine. You can click help in each of the search engine to look at the different specific Boolean operators that you use. But all and not in full capitals are these commonly used across the search engine. Atau lupa nak hide. Okay, but anyway, just an exercise for the students. Real case example also. A student is trying to write a title on the review antibacterial activity of secondary metabolites derived from Streptomyces species. Initially, the students use this search term, Streptomyces species and secondary metabolites or bioactive compound and bacteria pathogens or antibacterial activities and in vitro studies. Towards the end, we suggest him to change the search terms into just Streptomyces and metabolites and antibacteria or minimum inhibitory concentrations or MIC or minimum bactericidal concentration or MBC or zonal inhibitions. Why do you think that we have suggested this change? Can anyone comment? Hafiz Sulaiman, are you there? I'm not sure that's your real name or or others people's name, but I'm just reading the names from my screen. Is Hafiz Sulaiman there?
Yes.
Hello, Hafiz? Are you having your tea?
I tak kenal lah Hafiz siapa.
Oh, dia tak ada mic, doktor. Dia bagi tahu
Okay.
kat chat. Okay.
Okay.
Siapa Hafiz ni? I tak kenal.
Farah?
Hafiz. Tak tahu.
Farah, are you there?
Which Farah ya, Gap?
Farah Dia.
Farah ada dua.
Whichever Farah lah. Whichever Farah who has mic to speak.
Oh, apa soalan tadi?
Why do you think we suggest this change from the original search term to the suggestions? The last one is the one that we suggest.
Streptomyces species metabolites. Oh, okay. And metabolites and metabolites. Sebab Streptomyces metabolites. Oh, nama tak sure lah, Gap.
Okay. But anyway, I just want to answer one question on the chat. Hafiz asked the Boolean operators work on which publisher? The Boolean operators in all capitals work generally on every search engine. Okay, it's just that some specific Boolean operators like the star, the cash symbol, I didn't introduce here, but these are specific to certain search engine. But those and not in full capital can be used across all search engines, WOS, Scopus, PubMed, all that. You can use this on all search engine.
Oh, sorry, Gab. I think I noticed the bracket antibacterial or the every O is in the brackets. Kalau yang dekat atas search term tu is not in the brackets. Sebab kalau in the brackets is the same, you know, it's the same apa parameter yang kita nak cari, it's the keywords for the same parameters, and is from the two different parameters lah.
Okay. So firstly, the use of, you're correct, the use of bracket define the concept. Okay. We use bracket to how to sum up, to categorize all the similar concept into one bracket. Okay, so that the search engine can process that first before it combine with other search term. Okay, so in bracket antibacteria and all the parameters, actually the concept the students are looking for. So we put it under a bracket. We use opening and also close opening and closing comma to make sure that it's such a phrase lah. Basically, it was such a phrase, but not treating a minimum inhibitory concentration as separate term. Okay, and we link items that share a similar concept using OR. Okay, antibacteria or MIC or MBC or zonal inhibitions, they all share similar concept. Okay, you will notice that I buang in vitro studies from the search term because people don't usually put this in their title, but all these MIC, MBC, and zonal inhibition things are in vitro studies. And these are exactly the parameters that the authors are looking for. Okay, so there's some redundancy here. Also redundancy, species is a redundant word. Okay, we want to look for anything that start with stratomyces. The articles might not include the word species. He could have named certain stratomyces species, the real name lah, okay? But species word is a redundancy here. Secondary metabolite, I removed the word secondary because it could be a redundant word in your search also. People might name a certain metabolite, but not secondary, okay? Similarly, bioactive compound, people might use, actually, for the author, it doesn't care really, is it crude extract or is it a specific bioactive compound? This word might not appear in your title, okay? So, as I said just now, if you put more words, you will make your search more specific. But if you put too much word, redundant word inside, you make your search narrower and narrower. And this is very bad for your systematic review. Okay, your reviewer would say that perhaps you should not throw away this word and search again. And you can select the studies based on the wider search results. Okay, because later on you're going to filter the search results. Okay, so the moral of this is that be specific, and at the same time not use too many redundant words, which could narrow down your search. Redundant words are the words that people sometimes they will not include in their title. Okay, this is a very delicate exercise. It's very difficult. You know, it needs some customizations. That's why I asked the beginners, students, beginner writers, if you want to start with your review or start your systematic review or scoping review, discuss the search term first with your supervisors. Narrow down use the most relevant appropriate search term before you even start to write. Don't complete your whole review, then you send to your supervisor, so this is my review. And supervisor look at the key terms and she doesn't agree. Then you go ahead and rewrite the whole thing. Okay, this student, this is a real case study. This student finished her review from top to bottom. And then the search engine she uses PubMed and ScienceDirect. And I said, I don't agree. I don't agree with your search engine. I don't agree with your keywords. So how are you going to do now? So this student is still figuring out how to solve this problem because he has finished the whole review, okay? But I'm not the main supervisor. So I'm not the main supervisor. I'm just helping her to just have a look at the review. I don't agree with the things that he does. And when she begins, he didn't really discuss scope of the study. He doesn't really discuss the what the keyword to be used, what the search engine to be used with the supervisors. So you just throws the supervisor full manuscript, and then there's a result. Okay, so it's a very important lesson for you. Discuss with your supervisor first. This is why you need to meet your supervisor more often. Discuss first before you start writing. Okay.
Dr. Chin, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So just now, based on the search term, would the search engine just run this search term for the title only, or would it pick up any words from the text as well?
Usually the automatic, search the title, abstract, keywords.
Okay.
It covers title, abstract, keywords.
So the title page.
Yeah. Unless you ask the search engine to specify, I only want the title.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you don't alter anything in the PubMed and you search these keywords, usually it refers to the words appearing in your title, abstract, and keywords. There's also why also for anyone who have written any article before, any student, name me a student who have written an article before. Siapa yang pernah menulis artikel, students? Mengaku lah. Anyone? Anyone? Farah, I know you have written article before.
Mak Farah ni lagi ke?
Yalah. Of course you have written article before. Your keyword, you write manuscript too. Your keyword, does it contain the same word from the title? Do you put the same word from the title into your keywords?
Ada, sebab I ada buat pasal sperm, so sperm definitely akan ada in the title, or maybe reproductive terms, so akan letak juga. Tapi basically akan tengok juga macam mana paper tu set their keywords, set their own keywords in their manuscript. So nanti bila nak search tu, dia akan cari that keywords as well lah. Sebab bila saya buat search tu, saya biasanya buat akan letak contohnya streptomyces species.tw, so dia akan masuk text words, so maksudnya dia akan screen the whole text lah. Betul tak, Kat?
I mean for your writing, when you write your manuscript, there's you are going to put keyword under the abstract, right? Yeah, so that when you put your keywords, usually do we put the same words as the word that we already use in our title?
Ada just one or two sajalah, not all the keywords.
Not all. Usually we prefer you use synonyms of the title, the word already appear in your title. Okay, we encourage you to use synonyms or the word that already appear in your title, so that when people search the manuscript that you publish, they can capture your article. Okay, they might search using a different keyword, which is synonym to the which is because let's say a word of the testosterone. Testosterone, the synonym could be androgens, could be DHEA and things like that. So as an ordinary person, when you search the article, you might use androgen or you might use testosterone in your search. If you already use testosterone in your title, of course, the person who can search your title, can search the keyword because you already put testosterone in your title. But at the same time, if you could put androgen in your keyword, then when a person search testosterone, androgens, your article could also be captured by the people. And this would increase your citations. Okay, you understand? For the students, you understand? You choose in the keyword, you choose synonyms of the words you already use in your title. Okay. But
should we still include the main word from the title?
I will say probably
because it could be redundant, right?
Yeah, it could be redundant. It could be a waste of space. Yeah, for me.
Your suggestion is to increase as much as words that we could include in your keywords so that boleh senang sikit orang nak search tu lagi.
Untuk senang sikit orang dapatkan artikel kamu. So you put as many synonym as possible but don't reuse the words in your title. Unless you really have nothing to put, so you just put the words in the title. But if possible, you use synonyms. So that it's easier for people to capture your article later. Okay. Usually it's not a set rules in publications. Publisher actually won't say about that. So I have encountered one or two that specifically say that your keyword shouldn't be the same word as your title. But usually most of the journal won't say that as a rule. Yeah. But it is a trick for you to increase citation and searchability of your manuscript. Okay. Then we go to the next section about reading. Okay. So what is the problem that the students usually face when you are reading article? Do you read the first article, then read the second and forget about the first? Is it something that commonly encountered by you? Yes? No? Yes? You can just unmute yourself and say yes.
Yes.
Okay. Will you agree that it is something very common? Okay. Big yes. Yes, many yes. Okay. So what we encourage. So now I'm going to teach you how to read. Okay. If you ask Prof. Nofilza, she'll ask you read every day so that you have idea. Okay, how to write. Okay, I remember last time when I first do my first presentation, Department of Physiology say read. You should ask students to read. Yeah. Okay, but probably it is very hard to ask students then go and open Nature and see what article appear in this issue. People don't read like that anymore. Okay, we acknowledge that people don't read like this anymore. So what we encourage you is that for the students, you decide a topic that you are going to write a review about. Yeah, okay, you decide on a topic that you are going to review. Okay, search using the keywords and methods that the other lecturers have told you. Maybe Jay have told you how to search. Okay, search, maybe you get 30 hits, 40 hits. Okay, so you screen, probably someone have told you how to screen already, how to filter out the articles you want. Okay, so you'll get maybe 15 articles. Okay, so how are you going to process that 15 article? Read one and read the second and read the third and forget about second and the first and second one. Okay, so okay, get your 15 article ready. Before you even try to read, make yourself an evidence table. Okay, what is the evidence table? Have anyone told you what is the evidence table? Okay, evidence table is something like this. I know it's a very small, but I hope you can see it on your screen. Okay. No, you just just use your Excel or Google Sheet, create a table with years, authors, titles. The main characteristic, the rest is according to the type of study you are reading. It could be samples, study design, findings. It could be for animal and salute study, it could be study designs, findings, and limitation, things like that. Okay, this is just an example of evidence table, but this is the most common one that I use. Okay. At least title and also author should be there. Somewhere for you to record down the study design, findings, okay? And also lastly is the limitations. As you read from one article to another article, you move the information, the important information that you are reading into the evidence table directly. Okay, as you read, move important material from the article you are reading into the table using your own word. Start paraphrasing from now, okay? As you read, move informations into this table using your own words, because later on you are going to create your a review or create a discussion or introductions of your article based on this table. You are not going back to the article again. So it's very important for you to move the information using your own word so that you don't plagiarize later. Sometimes I use the Excel functions at Excel to move this as my evidence table. So when you read, you just actively transfer the information to this table. Okay. So again, if you have set a small target of reading 2 papers a day, by the end of 1 week, you would have already read 14 papers and move the information into this table. If your core study is about that 14 paper, you already have information to write a review. Okay, very important. So that's why it's very important to set a small target for yourself and read and move the information. So the time of you spent in reading is not a waste. I don't want you to just read and forget what you read. Okay, read and move this table. So sometimes I also use Google Sheet to do the evidence table. And this sheet can be shared among group members so that multiple people can simultaneously use the same Google Sheet to record down your reading. Okay. But again, you do this evidence table using Google Sheet or using Excel, Microsoft Excel. It become very long somehow. If you are reading many studies, it somehow become very long and making the editing quite difficult sometimes. Okay, that's why I actually also devise evidence table using Google Form. Okay, because when you have too many columns, too many rows in Excel, it becomes very difficult for you to edit. So let's say you are doing a group work, a group review. Okay, you can design a Google Form, but please, when you design this Google Form, make sure you already are aware of what you are going to extract from that group article. Okay, be very sure about the items that you are going to extract from those group articles. This Google Form can be shared with other co-authors and is not too burdensome to store. Okay, but the prerequisite of using this Google Form for your evidence or data extracting, that you must have a clear evidence which aspect of the article you are going to extract. Okay. After you read article and put the information in this Google Form, after you finish reading, just submit. Then you are done with one article. And then you submit a new one for a new article, a third one for your third article. Okay. After finish reading all the article, you can export the informations on this Google Form that you already submitted. They will be tabulated nicely on a Google Sheet. Okay. So it's less tedious for you. Okay. So this is how you use a Google Form to do a group review. Okay. So what do you do after you get all this, let's say 16 article organized nicely on a Google Sheet or Excel form? The next step you are going to do is actually organize the rows of the these sheets or this Google Excel, this Excel, according to theme. You must set a theme for you to organize all these things. The easiest way for you, because you're in the Department of Physiology, so I guess the nature of the article that you read is similar to pharmacology. Firstly, partitioning them into cell culture studies, animal study, and human study. That will be the easiest. Okay, for all the 16 or 20 or 30 articles that you organize in this Excel sheet, partition them into cell culture, animal studies, or human studies, or clinical trial. In human study, because it could be further categorized into case control, cross-sectionals, longitudinal, and clinical trial. These are the usual steps I use to organize the study. Then you look at the arrangement, whether you can further divide them into maybe positive finding, negative finding, and negligible findings. Okay, find another team to sort out your studies. After you sort out all these things, then basically you have your organizations of your review. Okay, you have the organization of the content of your review. And then you just write your reviews.
Why? Tak dengar lah. Gap, tak dengar. Cannot hear.
Gap, something wrong with your mic.
Gap, something wrong with your mic. Cannot hear.
Cannot hear, Gap.
No, cannot hear, Gap.
Dia ada interference je, Dr. Chin. Dia memang no voice at all.
Hear me now?
Okay, yes.
Yes, okay. Tadi tak dengar apa pun, you ketawa seorang-seorang je.
Ya ke?
Repeat balik kan? Repeat balik yang you ketawa tu.
Repeat balik dari mana? Lupa dah.
Dari we need a team to organize based on the themes.
Okay, so once you export all the items into the Excel sheet, okay, Excel sheet or Google sheet, okay, organize it according to cell culture study, animal studies, and also human study. In human study, maybe you can further organize into based on the weight of evidence lah, case control, cross-sectionals, longitudinal, and also the randomized control trial. Okay, that's the basic structure. After that, you can further categorize within this structure whether maybe positive findings, negative findings, and negligible findings in each of the sections. And then basically you have your structure of your review already. Okay, then you write out your review based on this structure, based on the sorted Google Sheet. So do you have an idea what I'm talking about? Do you get the idea how you could construct your review based on this? Okay. So to connect this point to my earlier point, I probably extended my time. I hope you will allow me to speak further, another half an hour. Okay, start by setting out a goal for yourself on how many papers you can write, you can read each day. Before you read, create this table. So let's say you can allow yourself to read 2 papers a day. Read your 2 papers. By 15 days, you will have read 30 papers and extracted out their evidence using this evidence table. After 30 days, after finish your reading, sort the materials in your Google Sheet, Excel sheets into suitable themes according to your reviews. Then you can start writing your review based on the theme in the table. Later on, you can include this table into your review. Okay, into your review, you can export it and put it as a table in your review as evidence table. Okay, so you get the idea how you should read. Okay, don't read randomly. Read deeply about a specific topic that you have set and discussed with your supervisors, and read and extract the material at the same time. Okay, lastly, create a table, sort the table, and start writing. Okay, any question at this point? Any question at this point? There's one thing in the chat. Good idea, Google Form. Okay, yeah, Google Form is something that I invented lately. Usually I just use Excel sheet. Yeah.
There are days that people can be disciplined. There are days that people are lazy to read. So how are they going to do that?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to because everyone's commitment. I don't say that they are lazy, but maybe they have many commitments with the family and things like that. Yeah, so you have to set a reasonable target that's achievable for yourself. Okay. I always say that if you can't run, you must walk. If you can't walk, you must crawl, but you must be moving. Okay. If your busy schedule and also your commitment doesn't allow you to read, let's say 5 papers a day, you can set yourself 1 or 2 papers a day. But make sure it's achievable and make sure you are doing something every day. Okay. That's why you can't run. If you can't run, you must crawl, but make sure that you are moving. Okay.
Dr. Cap, how many hours do you allot for your time for writing and reading? I guess it would be separate, right? The amount of time that you give.
My schedule is a bit weird now. It's different from when I was a student. Yeah, when I was students, I can dedicate a lot of time. I can read 5, 7 articles a day and move it into the evidence table and things like that. But nowadays, as a lecturer, it's a bit different because I'm constantly busy reading and preparing my students' manuscript rather than reading, writing my own. If I have time, I actually have a target of writing 2 to 4 articles a day. Not a day, crazy a day. 2 to 4 articles a year as a first author. That's the target I set for myself as a lecturer lah. But nowadays, even that is a struggle nowadays because there's too much for me to read from the student side. Okay, and the student side, I don't just read 1 or twice. Sometimes it go up to 6 rounds or 5 rounds of revisions. Yeah, so at one point I would say to my student, maybe I'm more familiar of your essay than yourself. Yeah, so because of the switch in the role, also the use of my time in writing and publication is a bit different from my student days as well. Okay, I can't recommend my time, my schedule to you because I believe that I'm still single, so that my schedule is a bit different from those with families or with kids and things like that. Okay, so you create a schedule that's good enough for you, and also a daily goal that's good enough for you. Okay, but make sure you are doing something every day so that you can achieve your big goal. That is to complete that review article in 3 months' time, something like that. Tips on language. Maybe this has been covered as well by previous lectures, so I won't go deep into this. Okay, but it's just to mention to you that it's very common for us as Asian author to be commented this thing. Okay, this thing. Too many grammar mistakes in our review. Completely, the English should be completely revised. Why the authors need professional service in terms of proofreading. That's common. These are the reviews that I get after hundreds of articles. This is still the comments that I get. Okay, so don't be dissuaded. Okay. I tell you one ridiculous story. There's one time I submit one article to Hindawi Ecam. After 3 months of review, the single comment that I get from a Chinese reviewer is the first one. There are many grammatical mistakes in the text. Okay, and from a Chinese, not for a Westerner. Okay, so this thing happened. I want to say this thing happened. Don't be dissuaded. Your English is not poor. It's just that maybe we write not in a way that that's custom by the English people, native speaker. So sometimes we do need someone with some experience to proofread our manuscript. Okay, so but general guidelines to write as simple as possible. Make your sentence as simple as possible, as short as possible. Okay, and use simple vocabulary. Don't make your sentence very complex. Okay. Make sure you know how to use different type of style of sentences, and always place important things at the beginning of the sentences. Okay, I'm going to glance through these sections because I guess someone have told you about this. Make sure you know how to use active and passive voice. Okay, that's very important, compulsory for you to know, because in the methods and materials and method section, you are going to use passive voice. Okay, tenses, make sure that you are familiar with tenses, when to use simple, simple present, simple past, continuous present, continuous past, perfect tenses. I know some of the students like to use perfect tenses, okay? But sometimes you just can't use it correctly. So I would recommend the students to use just simple past and simple presents if possible, okay? Instead of using perfect tenses, okay? Unless you're doing passive voice, then you have to use a lot of perfect tenses, okay? Perfect tenses like has conducted, okay? Has performed, has studied, okay? Something that started has and ed. There's a specific reason we're using that, but I don't think most of the students can get it. So just stick with simple present, simple past. These are when to use these tenses. Okay, simple present usually to describe a fact. Okay, like calcium deficiency cause osteoporosis, this is a fact, so we use simple present. Present perfect action that has been completed, but the results are still relevant. Okay, several studies have shown that testosterone deficiency is related to metabolic syndrome. Okay, these studies has been completed, but then the findings are still relevant today. Okay, so we use present perfect. Simple past actions that have been taken place previously. So we recruited 300 subjects for the study, just actions that has been taken place before. Past perfect actions that has been happened before and completed. Okay. Not sure about the relevancy of the result. For example, previous study in 2015 has shown that Malays are more susceptible to vitamin deficiency. Okay, a study that has been completed, but the findings maybe is outdated now because somehow it's a 2015 study. 5 years from now, maybe it's not relevant anymore. So it's present perfect. But these tenses are confusing. I acknowledge that these tenses are confusing. So usually I will ask the students to stick with simple past and simple present. Okay. So this is usually I stick with these kind of tenses in my sections of the original research article. Okay. Introductions, present, present perfect, materials, matter, past tense, and also passive voice, result, past tense, discussion, simple present, simple past, depending on what I'm talking about. If I'm giving opinion, there will be present tense. If I'm drawing example from previous studies, there will be past tense. Conclusion, present tense, especially when you are giving suggestion for the studies, the present tense. Legends for figures and tables are usually in present tense. Okay, just a simple guide. Your supervisor might have different opinions. Okay, so don't be too particular about it. Follow your supervisors. Managing references. So for new students, are you familiar with any of the reference manager? EndNote or Mendeley? Are you familiar with that? Yes? No? Mariam, are you okay with Mendeley or EndNote? Either one?
Mendeley.
Mendeley. Sure, you know how to use it, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Mendeley is free, okay? So there are many reference manager out there. The most commonly used one you can is EndNote and Mendeley. Personally, I prefer EndNote, okay? EndNote, many style, easy to edit this style as well, easy to use, can use offline, online nowadays. But cons is that it's a paid software. You can get the free versions from library, okay? Library will give you free versions, okay? Free and legit version, not free and illegal versions, free and legit versions, okay? You just request from the librarian, they will give you, okay?
I bought from Shopee.
Shopee punya is illegal actually. Okay, Mendeley free. Okay, you can log in using UKM account for bigger storage, but this option is no longer available. Okay, UKM are no longer subscribing Mendeley, so using free version with limited online storage. Okay, cons is that you really need connections to use Mendeley. Not many, I will remove this sentence, not many styles, not many established styles, but then you can always import, okay? You know how to import a new style for Mendeley, Mariam?
No.
No, figure it out.
Yeah, I'm going to figure it out.
Yes, we are constantly resubmitting our manuscript, so it's very important for you to know how to import new style. For EndNote, it's very easy. For EndNote, you just download and put it in a specific folder in your PC. Then you can have the new style. For Mendeley, it's a bit different. Okay, you go and figure out how to import the thing. Okay, and Zotero is free, completely free, need connections and not many styles as well. Okay. Also, as a new students, you need to know how to use this thing. For analysis, SPSS, and GraphPad, I'm not going to teach you here. Graph, how to draw graph using Excel and GraphPad as well. I simply don't like the SPSS graph because they are too hideous, okay? Schematic diagram, how to use PowerPoint to draw schematic diagram. Don't draw your diagram in the words because it's very difficult to edit, okay? Draw your diagram in PowerPoint. Okay, I export as a 300 dpi image. All your default setting for PowerPoint, it will export image less than 300 dpi. But 300 dpi is the minimum requirement for journal article. How do you reset that? Go and Google, okay? Go and Google how to export PowerPoint image as 300 dpi image, okay? There are plenty of resources in Google on teaching you how to export it in 300 dpi. This is very, very important. Many students don't know how to do this, and they fail to comply with the journal's requirements. Okay. Language editing, use Grammarly. Okay. Grammarly is available in free versions and also the upgraded premium versions. The premium versions with discount usually cost about, I think, almost 300 ringgit a year. Okay, but okay, remember I didn't say it here. I didn't say it here. Grammarly, go and buy Shopee.
Yeah, I told you, Shopee got everything.
Guys, kat sini recording, okay?
I don't know how they got it. Probably they bought it a bulk license and then they sell it separately.
Yeah. Very cheap, kan?
Okay.
Cheap.
But the free version will do. Like, if you are a decent writer, a free version will do. Okay. But again, not everything that Grammarly suggested you should use lah. I mean, some of the things that Grammarly suggested, whatever Grammarly suggestions, whatever Grammarly suggested is just a suggestions. Okay, you can decide whether to include that suggestion or not. Okay, because it is a computer algorithm. Computer algorithms are stupid. Okay, they don't really understand human language. So look at the suggestions. If it is your fault, then you change lah. If it's not your fault, you think it is good enough, then you don't change. Okay, that is the principle of using Grammarly. Don't take every single suggestion from Grammarly. Take when it is appropriate. Okay. And plagiarism. Okay, need to ask your boss first. We need to ask your boss whether you have someone in your department holding Turnitin account. Is there anyone in your department who is holding Turnitin account? There should be one. There should be one. You can apply.
Oh, bukan faculty ya?
Faculty, but I think faculty can assign someone in your department to hold an account for Turnitin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Surprisingly, I had an account. I don't know why. I used to have an account when they give away account simply. They simply give an account, but then they have financial issue. They cancel away account. Surprisingly, my account is not canceled, so I'm holding the account for pharmacology. So I'm aware also some department there are people holding account for Turnitin. So I'm not sure whether who is holding account for your for your department. Maybe you apply one from PTM from the relevant parties, like to apply one for relevant parties, and to have that pegawai in charge of screening all the manuscript that you are going to send out, because you know, people do screen your manuscript for plagiarism. Every journal house, they use Identica to scan your manuscript. Identica is the same company with Turnitin. It's just different product. Okay. And also, when you hold account for Turnitin for a department, remember to ask account holder not to save whatever you submitted into Turnitin repository. Do not save it in your report. Do not save it online. Not to say, do not submit the file into Turnitin repository, because once you submit it into the repository or save it in the repository, the whole world can screen their work against your thing. So I'm just afraid that when you save it into the repository and then you submit to a journal, the journal might detect 100% similarity with whatever that you have saved in UKM. Yeah. So there is a function in Turnitin not to save it online, not to save the files into the repository of Turnitin. Okay, that's a trick lah. Okay, just very important to note that. For Word students, for words, please learn how to use the basic function of words. Learn how to use.
Just now for the repository, the default is to submit, right? So we have to actively change.
Yes, the default is to submit. So you have to ask the account holder, click off, switch off the default setting. Okay, it's very important. I'm afraid also, let's say you are submitting an English thesis, somehow it gets detected. Yeah, somehow. So for Word, very important for new students, know how to use style, know how to use tab, know how to use know how to format object and tables. Go and Google YouTube of how to do this thing. Okay, I don't want students to don't know how to use tab. Use multiple spacebar until you get a space in front of the sentence. I get student like that. You don't love it. I get student like that. I got panic. You don't know how to use tab. Okay, so make sure new students know how to use tab. Okay, there's a basic requirement for you. Then okay, you have read, you have planned yourself a goal to write. You have read and write, organize your table, put your tables in the manuscript. Okay, now you have completed a review. Now you want to decide which journal to submit. So what are your considerations to decide which journal to submit? Frankly speaking, in UCAM, the most important considerations, I think Prof. Nofiuza will agree, that indexing and impact factor is very important now. Okay, we consider indexing and impact factor very importantly. A few years ago, we still consider scopus, but nowadays we don't consider scopus. Okay, we only consider journals that is indexed with ISI, with journal citation report, with impact factor and ranking. Okay, but you have to be aware the higher the impact factor, the lower the acceptance rate. That is the usual trend. Okay. But now, new students, do you know how to check impact factor? Very important question for you. We ask you to submit to journal with impact factor, but do you know how to check impact factor?
You can check it at the website if you open the website. For example, if you are interested to submit in to a publisher, then you open up the publisher's website, and there should be an impact factor there on the website, right?
You could, but how are you sure that the publisher are not lying to you? You heard about Physiology Journal, right? Yeah. Okay. What you can do, but if you are looking at reputable publisher like Elsevier, Whaley, Sage, they are quite reputable. BMC as well, they are reputable publisher. The online usually will believe. But for smaller publisher, then you will want to be careful. Okay, so what you should do is actually, do you have a Gemilang account? Gemilang UCAM account? You don't know what's Gemilang? Gemilang is the library portal. Yeah.
Never heard of Gemilang.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you just type Gemilang UCAM, then it will lead you to the UCAM library portal. Go to eJournal portal, and then log in. Okay, you need to apply an ID to log in. Okay, you need to have a library account to log in. After you log in, let's see whether I can show you here. Just a moment, I see whether I can show you here. New share. Can you see my library account now? Okay. So our library does subscribe to Journal Citation Report. Okay, this is Journal Citation Report. Okay, inside Journal Citation Report, you grab the journal's name or you grab the journal's ISSN number. Okay, and put it here in the journal's name. Let's say we have my favorite journal is Nutrients. Okay, you type Nutrients here, it appear. So just click into it. I'll still seeing my web page. Has it gone to the nutrient page?
Yes, doctor.
Okay, so you can see nutrients is impact. Its impact factor is being recorded. Impact factor 2019, meaning that it still has an impact factor in 2019, 4.5. You can also look at the impact factor previous year. Remember, for UCAM, we acknowledge impact factor 2 years. Okay, 2 years before. So this year is 2021. We consider the impact factor of Journal Citation Report 2019, which is 2 years before. Okay, very important for you to note. So let's say next year is 2020. So later this year, JCR is going to release impact factor 2020. But in UCAM, we don't look at the latest impact factor 2020 yet. We still refer to the impact factor 2019 throughout this year. Okay. So let's say you are planning for a Q1 paper to be published this year. You should look at impact factor 2019. Okay, for this year, 2 years before. Even if impact factor 2020 will be released later this year. So to look at the ranking, okay, scroll down and look at the rank. Okay, you can see nutrient is listed Q1 in nutrition dietetic. Okay. In this journal that can be ranked in multiple ranking. It can be ranked in nutrition, it can be ranked in pharmacology at the same time. Okay, so we look at in UCAM, we look at the category with the highest ranking. Okay, so let's say if nutrients is listed in Q1 nutrition and Q2 pharmacology, we will take into the highest ranking, take into account the highest ranking in nutrition. Okay, so this Word of Science thing, you can go to the eJournal portal of UCAM library website. You can access it using your account. Okay. So at the same time, you would, how do I say? You can look at the indexing as well. If the journal is indexed in WOS, of course, it will appear with impact factor and things like that. But there are some journals
which are indexed in EXCI. For example, our science and medicine and health, it is indexed in EXCI. ESCI doesn't have impact factor. That's something for you to remember. ESCI doesn't have impact factor. Although it's considered WOS index, but it doesn't have impact factor. Okay, so I hope I have gone back to my slide. Okay. So publish in somewhere with impact factor. Okay. Unless really the other choice, I mean, you by rejected by all journal, but try to publish in Q1 to Q4. Worst come to worst, really no place to publish. At least go for a Scopus at least. Okay, but that will be your last options. Nowadays, go for Q1 to Q4 first. Second thing you have to consider for your supervisors is processing fee. Okay, you are aware that most of the open access journal now are charging people like us article processing fees. Okay. Open access journal, they charge fee so that readers can read for free. Okay, so that your article can reach a wider audience and receive higher citations. Probably you will receive a faster processing as well at the same time. But you have to consider for your supervisors, can your supervisor afford the fees, or can your supervisors claim the fee from UKM? Okay, don't simply just push your article to Frontiers, for example. Your full article in Frontier would cost about 15K Malaysian ringgit. Okay, and then our faculty claim for Q1 journal is up to 10K. So who is going to fork out that 5K? The difference in 5K. Are you going to ask your supervisor to fork out from his pocket? No. So please be considerate. Ask your supervisor first whether you can submit to this open access journal with such a fee. Okay, let him or her to decide whether this fee is affordable by your supervisors or whether she could claim this fee from the institutions. Okay, I know probably your supervisor won't ask you to pay, but then you have to be a bit considerate for your supervisors. And be aware, there are journals out there who will publish anything. Okay, who will publish anything for money, and these are predatory journals. Okay, I'm sure that you are aware that there's a news recently saying that our Malaysians rank number 5 or don't know how many numbers already in the top producer of predatory articles, right? Okay, so be aware of that. If you can be assured that that journal has an impact factor in the website I told you just now, then it's okay. Probably it's not in a predatory journal. Or else you can check, you can Google BEL list and look at the potential title for predatory journal. But what I want to warn you about is that BEL list is a list published by a single librarian. Okay, it is by no way the golden standard. It is not, how do I say, a consensus. I mean, something that's established our consensus. Okay, it's the opinion by a single librarian. Okay, so you can take BEL list as a reference, but still you have to check impact factor and also Scopus indexing to be sure. If that, for example, Frontiers, you know, Frontiers have many Q1 journals and also impact factor journal, right? But Frontiers is in BEL list. Okay. There might be conflict of interest, commercial interest, personal argument involved why Frontiers is listed in BEL list. NDPI also once was actually in BEL list some years ago. NDPI is actually in BEL list some years ago. So there are many arguments why they are in BEL list and why they are not in BEL list. But for you, you check Scopus indexing and also impact factor. If they have impact factor, it's okay, go ahead and submit. Okay. And of course, subscription journals are those traditional journals where reader actually have to pay to read, and usually slower processing because you have to queue for volume number, issue number, and also page number. Okay, that's what causing the delay. Okay. But for some journal in Elsevier nowadays, there's a trend of they will publish advanced issue. Although they say this issue is like for June 2021, right? Once your article accepted, it will actually schedule your article into June 2021 issues, and it will be readily online. Okay, that's what Elsevier do nowadays to reduce the waiting time for audio number and issue numbers. Nature journal is something that you want to consider as well. Whether you want to publish in a niche journal or in a multidisciplinary journal. Niche journal is, let's say, if you are doing neuroscience and you publish in a journal titled neuroscience. For me, like I'm doing on osteoporosis, I publish in a journal called Osteoporosis International. That is a niche journal. There's the journal only publish type the article of your field. Okay, usually niche journals are pretty prestigious. They are published by a certain society, by a group of people, expert of interest. Okay, your journal, no, your article could find the right audience, and there's a higher chance of being cited. But I'm not sure whether this sentence is still relevant nowadays, whereby you use search engine to get certain article. You don't really flip through that journal and look for articles. You actually go to search engine to look for articles. And also in niche journal, probably, well, again, it's still prestigious to publish in this kind of journal. You probably will meet expert reviewer, expert in the field in reviewing journal. Once I actually submit to Osteoporosis International, I'm doing a quantitative ultrasound, then assessment of bone. Once I submit, I realize that the name of editor who apply me is a pioneer in this field, and I get a shock. My goodness. Would I get rejected immediately because it's a not the reviewer, the editor who handled my manuscript is actually expert already. So it just scared me, but eventually it got accepted by another journal. For multidisciplinary journal, sometimes they can be prestigious as well because Nature is a multidisciplinary journal. PLOS ONE is a multidisciplinary journal. Science Report is a multidisciplinary journal, and Science Malaysiana is a multidisciplinary journal. They publish various fields. Okay. Sometimes they have higher chance of being accepted because they just judge you by the novelty of studies and things like that. But it's very hard to say. It's very hard to say nowadays. Yeah. But there's a chance that your manuscript will be assessed by someone that's not that expert in the field. Okay. That would changes your chance of being accepted. How the journal is published, whether it's printed or online, okay? Because they will alter the speed of publication. Of course, if the journal is available online only, then the speed will be very fast because you don't have to wait for issue numbers and also page number like NDPI, okay? Although it has issue numbers and page number, but it's very fast, okay? Because it's published online only. For printed journal, usually it's, you have to look at how many issue per year it printed, okay? Comparing a journal that printed 4 issues a year and a journal with 12 issues a year, probably the one with 12 issues a year will process your article faster, okay? Also, some journal, for printed journal, they will charge you extra for color images, but this is not issues for online journals, okay? And there's usually no article length restrictions and reference restrictions for the online journal as well. But apart from online and printed, how would you know the processing speed of a journal? Any experienced one? How would you guess the processing speed of a journal?
I guess you can check the submission date, acceptance date, and also the publication date.
Yeah, okay, that's correct. You can open, Dr. J is correct. So you can just open any article from that journal and look at this date. Usually they will let you know the received date, accepted date, and also maybe online date or publication date. Okay, so you look at this period. Okay, the duration between this period. If they are shorter, meaning that their processing speed are faster. If they are over a year, over 2 years, then you have to be careful lah. Okay. Otherwise, I won't show the website, but otherwise, go to Journal Finder Elsevier. Okay, go to Journal Finder Elsevier, key in your title and key in your abstract, and then usually Elsevier will suggest a list of journal for you. In that list, Elsevier will dissect to you what is the processing speed of each journal, from acceptance to first decisions, and also from online publication to publications, from acceptance to online publications. Okay, go to Elsevier Journal Finder. They provided such a service. Okay.
Gabriel, sorry,
Yes.
that's for Elsevier journals alone, or generally for all the journals, regardless of the publisher?
That is only for Elsevier journal alone. Yeah, because it's offered by that publisher.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But I have gone through some of the publisher website. Most of publisher would offer this service, journal recommender, but the speed isn't. They don't offer the knowledge, information about the speed of journal. Only Elsevier can offer information about the speed of journal. But most of the publisher nowadays would have a journal recommender. You just key in your title and also abstract, then you can get a recommendation for a journal. It is also available in Web of Science. You go to Web of Science and look for a journal recommender. Okay, it is available for Web of Science. Then it can search across publisher. Okay. Otherwise, you can go to individual publisher website, Springer, Whaley, Taylor and Francis. All of them have journal recommender, but only the Elsevier journal recommender have the speed of publication informations.
Thanks, Gabriel. I have one question. Based on your experience, what do you think regarding the chances of acceptance of a manuscript in open access versus closed access?
It's very hard to say. Till now, I'll give you an example. Till now, I still don't understand how NDPI reject a journal. Yeah. Because NDPI rejection come very fast. And also usually it's the desk rejection, but I don't know how they reject a journal. Usually, but for me, I think open access journal, like some experience with Dove Press and the PI and BMC as exceptions. They do show higher acceptance rate. Okay, because for them, and +1 as well, because for them only, I mean, novelty is not much of a considerations, but whether your manuscript is scientifically sound. Because for them, there's no restriction in page volume, in the volume and also issue. They don't really have restrictions on how many articles they could include in a volume or issues. So they have more capacity of accepting your journal for open access and online publications. For traditional journal, they are actually limited by the number of articles they can include in their issues and also volume. So there is a restrictions there that have to be taken into considerations.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Yeah, but from my experience, open access, they do have a higher rate of acceptance. Yeah.
Thanks, Gabriel, for that.
But again, these things are very internal for now. But BMC is exceptions, and BMC is very hard to get acceptance. Yeah, even it's open access, it's very hard to get acceptance because of their internal policy.
But it's very expensive, right? BMC.
BMC is very expensive. Usually 1,700 euro or something like that. Yeah.
Because my first paper published was in BMC, Behavioral and Brain Functions, when I was doing my PhD. So I remember, I mean, of course, my supervisor paid the publication charges. At that point, still naive regarding asking for, you know, the, what do you call it, the discount. You know, some journals, they do offer some sort of a discount, right? Depending on which country you are coming from and all those things. But I remember my supervisor, she paid quite a sum of money for the publication charges. So when Gabriel mentioned, please consider this, so you have to, because I myself had made the mistake before. So I think it's something that for you need to consider. The APC is within the capability of our faculty to reimburse.
Okay.
Thanks.
So yeah, one thing about BMC, just want to add on one thing about BMC, it's not fast. It's open access, but it's not fast. And the selections of the reviewer selection process is very fastidious. I'm an editor there. It's very fastidious. For example, the reviewers that I select as an editor, the reviewer that I select cannot have any share paper with the editor, which is something that I don't understand now. Why is the what is the conflict of interest there? But then this is their policy. So yeah, BMC, their processing speed is not as fast as NDPI or the other open access publisher. Okay. Oh, and also, yeah, the review process probably something that you want to be aware, but it's not a critical factor for you to select a journal, but something for you to be aware. Most of the journal, they will adopt single-blinded reviewing process, meaning that the reviewer will know the authors. Okay, most of the journal will adopt this practice, single-blinded. Less journal are taking double-blinded process, whereby the reviewers will not know the authors. Our medicine and health is actually using double-blinded, but then most of the journals that I serve, like ECAM and also BNC Public Health, and yeah, and others, they don't usually use double-blinded. They mostly use single-blinded. So this is something that you could take advantage of, if you are selecting your friends as a reviewer. When they see your names, then maybe they will give you more lenient decisions. But whether or not that journal want to take your suggestion is another story. Okay, but if the journal do take your suggestions, your name appearing in the reviewing process could be a publication, could be a bonus point, because if it's your friends, then sometimes they could be more lenient. New trend, they have open review process whereby the reviewer comments and also response will be published, and also post-publication process whereby the readers can comment on your articles. Okay. Any articles that you publish, that you uploaded into a ResearchGate and also PubMed, there is a review, actually comment functions that people can actually comment. My article got commented. I haven't figured out the response yet. So how to select a reviewer, how to suggest a reviewer? Okay, usually a friend or supervisor or friends. If possible, these friends has not co-published with your supervisor before, but they are still friends. Okay, if they have co-publishing experience in the last 3 years, maybe the editor will reject. Okay, don't send names of people from the same institutions, probably it will get rejected as well. Okay, so don't give names from UKM, because most probably the editor will reject this name. Give someone outside UKM, but you are friends with them. You can also give names if you don't have friends in this field. Okay, I'm not trying to sound very pathetic, but if you don't have friends in this field, okay, you can select authors that you have cited often in your manuscript. Okay, you can also Google, okay, who are the authors who have published in this field, and submit their names as a reviewer. But probably it's more suitable if you have cited them in your manuscript, and they will be happy that you have cited them in your manuscript to increase your citations. Okay, but don't cite their work wrongly, then habis lah. And also lastly, you want to recommend expert in the field, but again, we are afraid that sometimes experts are too fussy about your manuscript. Okay, usually we'll put this as a last lah. Okay, but as a BMC editor, I'm told not to take the names suggested by the authors lah. And usually I serve as in Navi as well. As an editor, I don't have access to the name that you recommend. Okay, I know journal asks you to recommend names, but sometimes we don't have access to the names you get. I mean, you suggest. Okay, because somehow journals are not very. I mean, they are suspicious of name that authors suggest lah. Okay, this is my experience. But the experience, I mean, the different journal or different publisher could have different practice. Okay, and how to answer reviewers' comment, answer point to point as detailed as possible, mention where the changes are in your response sheet, mark the changes in the text of the revised manuscript. You can highlight it, change the color, the font, or the edited part, or track the changes using word functions. Okay, remember to be humble in your response and try not to be confrontational. These are examples of our response. Okay, usually you reply like this, okay, comment, and then they'll respond. Usually we'll quote the response in the text, we'll quote the part that has been changed in the text. I am aware that some of you will just answer, okay, done, this changes done, this changes has been performed, full stop. You don't quote and then you don't cite back the changes. If you just say done or change, then you are forcing the reviewer to look back a second time at your manuscript. Okay, if he or she look at your manuscript second time, he or she bound to have going to detect more errors. Okay, so the reason we quote the things that we have changed in the text is actually to prevent the reviewer to go back to our manuscript, because some of the reviewers are very busy. They don't have time to look back at your manuscript. So if you can just quote back the changes that has occurred in your manuscript, then he wouldn't have to flip through your manuscript again. And your manuscript can just be accepted like that. Okay, if you don't cite, then he has to go through, and when he go through, maybe he will detect more errors, and you'll get a second or third revisions. Okay. You can also answer like this, where you just draw tables and then comment and reply. Also, this is what we call point to point lah. One comment followed by one response. Okay, one comment followed by one response. So this is what do we mean by point to point? Okay, and this is very important. And how to tackle rejections. Okay, usually these are some of the harsh reviewer comments I got throughout the years. The study are often are things new to the field. The language and grammar of this manuscript hinders the comprehension of readers. Okay, the compound investigator is not viable in the market, so there's no point in studying. This is actually review. Actually writing up a review of my supervisor research. He has been in this field for 20 years. And we summarized 20 years of her research, and then he got this comment. Now, you know how sad it is? The model used is totally wrong. Is your study necessary? And I got a reviewer from NDPI actually, who end every of his comment with the word really. Okay, it is super annoying. Okay. He actually ended every of his sentences with really. In the end, I actually had to stay away from the review for 2 days just to calm myself.
They actually asked the number 5.
Sorry?
They actually asked number 5. Is this study really necessary?
Yeah, this got asked a lot. They are questioning your novelty of study. Yeah. So Dr. J has spoken up. So this is common experience even with experienced researcher. Okay, so as students, Don't be frustrated, okay? Because I say no reviewer comment can be harsher than the breakout line of your exes. Okay? No comment can be harsher than the breakout line for ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, and things like that. Okay? Just remember that, okay? If you can survive your last breakup, probably you will survive this reviewer comment. Yeah, this is where everyone laughs.
Why are you giving that kind of example?
Just to calm the students, reviewer comment cannot be harsher than the your breakup. But yeah, if you can survive your breakup, you can survive this. Yeah.
Gosh, people like Jay never been rejected. So you see?
Yeah. So Jay is more lucky than me.
No, I had rejection. My first paper, the one I submitted to BMC, first time it was rejected, Prof. The reviewers comment, they sent it to 5 reviewers.
Jay, I'm not talking about rejected. This is rejected by human, Jay, relation. Nothing to do with journal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, never mind. Wrong topic.
You're talking about your ex-boyfriend, your ex-girlfriend, yeah.
Never had ex, like married to one, the only one.
Okay, so you're lucky.
You see, Gap. He never been rejected, even though he adores so many girls around.
Yeah.
I don't think it's true, and it's being recorded, Prof.
Yeah. That's why he feels sad during the first rejection by the 5 reviewers.
Honestly, I think they sent it to 5 reviewers, and the comments from the reviewers were longer than the manuscript itself.
Yeah. Okay. So this is okay. No, I don't want to comment about Jay's love life. We stick with the reviewer. Yeah, we have colleague. I do have a colleague also, same with Jay. He submitted the manuscript to Bone, which is a top journal in osteoporosis. He also get rejected by 5 reviewers. My colleague actually went into depressions, and she didn't submit any paper for 2 years. Okay. So this is something that the supervisor should also pay attention to. Now, if your students get rejected by reviewers or journals, do provide certain comfort. Okay, comfort in words lah, not other kind of comfort. Okay, do provide comfort, and also encourage them not to be despair. Okay, take it lightly. Okay, don't take it personally. Okay, even you receive harsh comments, do thank the reviewer for his comments. Okay, ask him or her, and I put it also if you consider the reviewer to be inhuman. Okay, you can call it to reconsider the comment and put forward your counter argument. Thank him, her, or it again for the time in reviewing a manuscript. If you are really not happy, you can complain to the editor of the journal. Okay, we did complain when we received this comment. The compound investigator is not viable in market. Why do you care whether it's viable in the market or not? It's our research. Yeah. So we actually complained to the editor of the journal saying that this reviewer is biased. Okay. And it depends on the editor whether he will take your comment or not. At one point also, in NDPI, my manuscript have undergone 3 rounds of review, and one reviewer is consistently not accepting any of my comments or my replies. So I actually asked the editor also, is there any point of me keep revising after 3 rounds of review? And that particular reviewer is not agreeing with us in each round. So the editor actually just responded, you just submit and see how. They will make a decision. So it's a 2 against 1, and they accept our journals, our manuscript. If you are not really happy with the comments and your editor is not helping you, you can withdraw. Okay, or you wait the manuscript to be rejected and submit to another journal. Okay, there are thousands of journals out there. You shouldn't be hurt by one journal. Okay, try to replace the word journal with girlfriend or boyfriend. So withdraw. Okay, withdraw if you're not happy, or you can wait to be rejected. if you decide to withdraw, very important for the students, if you decide to withdraw, send your withdrawal letter or send your withdrawal email first before you resubmit. You cannot resubmit before you withdraw because it is offense. If your manuscript is being considered by another journal, you cannot resubmit. You need to at least withdraw first. It is up to the journal house they want to acknowledge your withdrawal or not, but at least you have submitted your withdrawal letter or email. After which you can wait for their reply. If they don't want to reply, at least you have submitted your withdrawal letter. You can go ahead and submit your manuscript. Okay, protect yourself. Remember, protect yourself. Send your withdrawal first, your withdrawal notice first before you resubmit, or else it's an offense. You can be blacklisted by journals.
Sorry, Dr. Chin. How long we should wait for the response after we submit the withdrawal?
I think it's reasonable to wait for 1 week or 2 weeks, and then you can ask again for their clarifications whether they have received your withdrawal letter or not. If some journal, I know they have a bad habit, they don't respond to their authors. If they are not responsive, then I think it is okay for you to resubmit your journal because you have a proof already. You have a proof that you acknowledge the journal you want to withdraw already. And it's their fault of not acknowledging your withdrawal letter. But the fault is not you. Okay? But it's best to get their response if they can acknowledge your withdrawal. But you cannot wait forever.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Okay. So this is the one that was commented not viable in the market. We submitted to another journal, got published with a journal impact factor to 3 point something. Okay, so don't be despair. If you have written something, there will be always a journal which can publish it. Okay, if you have written something good, there will be always journal to be able to publish it. Okay, don't be despair. Or don't be like hurt by only one journal. There are thousands of journals out there who are willing to publish your article. So the key point here is don't give up. Move down the ranking as you submit. You can go submit all the Q1 first and then move down to Q2, Q3, Q4. Accept all the useful comment, even though it's rejected. You can adopt this comment into your revised manuscript and submit to another journal. Seek help, consultation, opinion from other third parties if you need to, and resubmit again. Always resubmit again, okay? So basically, this is all about it. Your research cycle is read, write, rinse, and repeat again, okay? So this is just to give a preliminary view of the writing process. We have individual, more specific model of how to write systematic review, how to write original research article, but I think that has been covered by Jay. Okay. We also have other modules specific for lecturers and things like that. Okay, so this is for beginners writer. So for now, do you have any questions? Would like to take any questions? I know I'm 1 hour overdue, but I hope you're enjoying. I hope you're enjoying the talk.
Sorry, Gabriel, I have one question.
Yeah.
Actually, this question is for not just for Gabriel alone, so I think it's for other senior professors in the department as well. So this is the one question that have been more like something that is more like a selection dilemma, like a predicament for me. You see, sometimes we go after the impact factor of the manuscript, right? And then we have certain specific journals which are very, very specialized to the field that we are studying. For example, like I'm working with alcohol addiction. So there are some journals like alcohol and clinical experiment, and then addiction biology, and few other papers which are very relevant to addiction. But the thing is, some of these journals, the impact factor is like 3 something and 2 something. So it's even listed as a Q2 at most. So what should I do? I mean, in a long run, to establish myself as an expert in the field, should I go after the impact factor, or should I go after the niche of the journals? What should I do? How do I build my career based on this publication?
Oh, it's open discussion, right? It's open discussion, right? Okay.
Yes, yes.
For me, how do I say? First thing, I have different, probably more than one publication a year. So I actually divide them. Some I use them to chase for impact factors. Some I use them to go for a niche journal. For example, some of the niche journal, because I'm working on densitometry of bone as well. The niche journal, the most recognized journal in densitometry is Q3. It's only Q3, 2 point something. Yeah, it's called Journal of Clinical Densitometry. And it has a long waiting time. So usually I don't go there, but if I have a shot, I really want my journal to be published there because it's something that people would look up for. I mean, if expert in densitometry would praise me, if I have a paper in the clinical densitometry, I will look very good in the expert eye. Also, I go for archive for osteoporosis, which is also between Q2 and 3. Archives is not very high impact, but again, it is one of the official publication of International Osteoporosis Society. So our Malaysian paper usually could reach the archive of osteoporosis. I would love to go there as well. It has a now it's Q2 lah. It is okay. It's not Q1, but I'm okay with it. It's still Q2. Yeah, but at other times, yeah, I will use other publications, maybe reviews to chase for impact factor and higher rankings. This is my strategy. I'm not sure about others.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Can I just give my view?
Yeah.
I thought that because you guys are still young and you are building your career, I think what matters is the subject that you are actually published. So you can be, a mixture of a general topic, but you should also highlight your strength in your papers, because what determine your career later on, you're gonna be a professor of what. So you have to defend based on the publication. They will not take as how many talks that you have given so far, or how many times you appear in the media talking about the subject, but it's more on the publications that's the best evidence that showed to them. Whoever that gonna give you the title, the new VC or whoever VCs later on, they will actually look at the evidence on the paper. So that is more relevant rather than the talk. I would say that during my, to get associate professor last time, because you start with your doctor title, so not many people will invite you to give a talk. So it's like chicken and egg, It's like they will not invite you because you don't have the title, but to get the title, you have to get invited speakers and to be known in the area. So it's actually hard when I thought to get associate professor, but I could clearly show in my CV that I consistently write a paper, and I consistently showed the strength in my career. So there's no doubt about it. So again, whether I will publish in a high impact or not, so I'm not like Gabriel every year, more than 20 or 30. I will be, because I will go for some of the papers high impact and some are Q4 or even index journals, so that a mixture of both, because we are still in the we are going for quality, but actually we are still not enough papers to be known in the whole world. But yesterday I actually had a discussion with the Professor Sonia. She is actually pediatric and gynecologist consultant in Australia. She actually not really care about the impact factor. In fact, she said that why are we, racing towards the high impact journal in UK or in States, US, even their health system is just chaos. So they are not even good in tackling the pandemic issues. So why are we looking up into these people? So what is more relevant is whatever that we're doing, the research has to be translated and be used in our local. So she actually encouraged to publish it in the local journal. But to say that Australia is already developed country, so that is different, a bit different from Malaysia. So I think that we have to have some mixture of both, I think. So she is actually stopped published in the US journal because she thought that they are just, they just wanted to look good, but in fact they are not that great. That is what the message that I got the discussion with her yesterday. It's quite nice because I thought that she could help because she's the giant in the area. So I thought that we could use her to be, use the name, because I'm sure that Gab will agree with me that, or Jay or other lecturers, to be accepted from this part of the world, where it's really hard compared to if you studied overseas, and then even though your name, your first, your surname is Mokhtar, obviously it doesn't sound like European, but it's hard to get it published if you submit it from Malaysia compared to overseas. So these are the true stories that actually recently we trying to publish a paper. It's not Q1 even. I think it's Q1 but low Q1. We submit a paper, nothing, no review, no issues about the paper. There's nothing to improve. In fact, the reviewers give a good comment saying that a well reviewed paper. And we put the name of the professor academic Tersohor, Professor Emat. So what happened is that the paper was rejected after being reviewed for more than 2 months. And then Prof. Emat wasn't happy because he said that nothing wrong, I have reviewed the paper. And then I said, look, Prof. Emat, this is the true story, because these are the things that people from European probably did not recognize his name. So because even though he's giant, but the rest of the co-authors are just Malaysians. So that's how it is. So now the paper is being reviewed by the UK journal, where the chief editor is his best friend. Can you imagine that kind of politics has to be done? Because he said that this paper deserves to be accepted in the Q1. And why is this, low class Q1 reject? So I said, I don't know. So now, hopefully, it's still under review. If the paper being accepted, so, it's good to email to the person who reject the paper saying that you have actually reject the good paper. So sometimes you have to, I think, being studying overseas and then submit a paper from UK, the first time is being accepted, very minimum, just because you are not European or you're not British, but your name behind you, you got Mat Saleh behind you, so it's easier to be accepted. That's the reality. In fact, I have actually highlighted that to the distinguished professor, saying that it's not about the research, we can do better than them, but because we are not British or we are not American. That's the truth. Sorry if you are one of the American or British here. Sorry ya. Yalah, mana tahu ada nenek ke, I don't know. Sorry ya. So I'm just telling from the bottom of my heart after working more than 25 years. I think that's the struggle lah. Because I publish more original papers than review, but that's the reality. Sorry ya. Tengok sorry.
Thank you, bro.
So that's my view lah, Jay. So I think you just do, and I don't know whether you attended with Datuk Roslan session. Is it Gab? Did you attend?
Yes.
So what he said is that doesn't matter who the VC. So the best is you just do your best in your field, and then you publish, And doesn't matter the KPI tukar ke whatever, but you just stick to what you are best at, and you have to love your work. That's it. I think for the rest also, some of you are also university staff, so I think you just do your best in your field and just do it, and kenaikan pangkat or whatever perk will come automatically. So enjoy the journey.
Thank you very much, Prof. And thank you very much, of course, to Dr. Gabriel for a very inspirational and information-packed session, I think, for today. So before we end this session, I would like to invite everyone to switch on your cameras so that we can have a photo session. And just a reminder for everyone to remember to upload your manuscripts and update the progress of your manuscripts by 5 p.m. daily.
How many manuscripts do you target this workshop?
Based on the name list, we have 15 students, so at least 15 from the workshop.
15, yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
Quite a lot.
Okay, we'll just wait for a few more students to switch on. Okay, maybe boleh ke Puan Norizam ambil gambar kan?
Okay, everyone ready? Okay, count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, wait for a while.
Farah Hanan tak ada nampak pun.
Okay, one more time.
Dia dalam kereta, dia ada another.
Ya, pergi sekolah dengan anak sekolah jap.
Okay.
Okay, all right, one more time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, do you want freestyle?
Freestyle?
We'll have to do freestyle online.
Taklah freestyle, semangat.
Okay, freestyle. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
15 paper.
Okay. Okay, wait. I need to. Okay, one more time for the other one. Okay. All right. Freestyle again. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Good luck for your 15 paper. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.